What's going on, Cheat Code Sports Fantasy Football Podcast listeners? You got Dan, Kevin, Stevie P coming at you. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, everybody?
Full house on the panel for first time in a couple weeks, or about a week and a half. Feels good to be back, everyone. Today we are going to do a 2-quarterback mock draft, and we are going to discuss a little 2-quarterback stuff before we get into it. But first, remember, check us out on our website, www.cheatcodesports.com. That is www.cheatcodesports.com. We got rankings on there that are up and ready to go. We have articles that will be coming out weekly. We have the cheat codes, which is a great visual representation of every team's offense and player from last year. Is a great guide to use when you're determining between players and seeing how their teams use them. It's an awesome thing to look at. And then we have a PDF player profile packet that we are going to be coming out with that comes with a tiered out draft guideline for $10. Nothing crazy. So check all that stuff out. Give us some feedback. Let us know how you feel about it. And we'll go from here. All right. So let's start it off. Obviously, 2-quarterback leagues changes things a little bit. It's going to push the quarterbacks up the board a little bit more. Where do you feel comfortable taking Patrick Mahomes, the first quarterback, for all of us, I believe? Where do you feel comfortable taking him in a 2-quarterback league?
2 quarterbacks, I probably would jump him up to, third or second. Second's really, really tough, but I wouldn't be disappointed with Patrick Mahomes or even Lamar Miller in the second. It's just
you just did the Steve move.
Yeah,
you called him Lamar Miller.
You did the Steve move. Lamar Jackson. Yeah, you can't wait in 2 QB leagues on quarterback because it's just so crucial. And before you blink and you think that it's coming back to you, it's not. So you really do have to go around early when you have 2 quarterbacks. So yeah, either one of those guys, I would like to say 3rd round, but people are taking these guys in the 3rd round on regular drafts. So, you really got to go 2nd round.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable taking Patrick Mahomes probably, I guess in the beginning of the 2nd round, probably pick 14, 15 when it gets around there, just because I know the guy's a lock for 35 touchdowns. And unless he gets hurt, which, that can happen to anybody, but unless he gets hurt, I think he's the safest bet for 35 touchdowns and, 4,800 yards. It's just, to me, that's almost a lock with the way that he throws the ball in this offense to me. So, I would feel comfortable taking him there. Lamar Jackson.
I would probably take Patrick Mahomes at number 7 or maybe 8. I probably will wait until after Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
that's where I'm.
No, yeah, go ahead.
That's where I'm like. That next tier of running backs, obviously you're probably going to miss out on, but to get in a 2-quarterback league to get that stud quarterback, you gotta. I feel like those 2 guys are going to go in the 1st round.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be the end of the 1st round. Some like you said, maybe 7, 8. But for me, there's just so many quarterbacks that I don't. I think in the 2nd and 3rd round I can get 2 really good guys, and I don't need Patrick Mahomes in the 1st. You know what I mean? I could go in my 1st round. Let's say I have pick 7, like you just said. I feel like I could get
which I do in our upcoming mock draft.
Yes.
Siri assigned you number 7. Siri assigned me number 1, which I
and
hate,
I'm 12.
We're gonna have to roll with it. So
yeah.
we got the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yep. So, and for me, I would rather have one of those stud running backs, and then if I get, let's say in the 2nd round, let's say I take, let's say I take, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a Kyler Murray, right? Let's say I take Kyler Murray in the 2nd, and then it comes back to me, and Russell Wilson's there in the 3rd. You know what I mean? I would do that if I had an early pick. You see what I'm saying? I just feel like those guys are still going to be there in 2nd, 3rd round, so I don't need to take Patrick Mahomes that early. But some people, like you said, I mean, Lamar Jackson in a four. If we were talking, this is 4, point per passing touchdown league, then to me, Lamar Jackson is like the number 5 pick. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because the guy's he's almost a lock for. I just can't see how he doesn't score 10 rushing touchdowns, right? So if he scores close to 10 rushing touchdowns, he's probably, let's say, 6 to 8, right, on the low end. 10 if he continues his great play, right? Which I don't think there's going to be a huge fall off from his play. If anything, his passing touchdowns go down, not his rushing touchdowns. So, I just think he is too good in the rushing game to, not take early in the first round in 4 point per passing touchdown. But in 6 point, like we're doing in this mock draft and in most leagues, that's 6 point. For me, second round, early second round for both of those guys.
All right. Everything else pretty much stays the same, I would think, right? Like all your other rankings between your other players don't really change. I mean, you're just,
the quarterbacks go a little bit earlier, obviously.
Yeah, quarterbacks obviously get bumped up. All right, so you ready to start this thing up?
I am ready to start this thing up. All right, so like we said, Dan has the first pick, and he is on the clock.
Yeah, and everybody that's been listening knows that I've been kind of, Barkley, McCaffrey, 1A, 1B, but slightly ahead on Barkley. Probably not in the, the majority there, but I'm going to have to stick with what I've been preaching, and I'm going to take him with the number 1. Obviously, McCaffrey went number 2.
I love that, Dan. Stick with your guns. All right, so that pick was followed up by Patrick Mahomes going number 2 over McCaffrey, who gets the 3. Lamar Jackson goes number 4, followed by Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, and now I'm on the board. He fell to me again in this draft. If you remember the last draft, I think I had the 8th pick, and he fell to me at 8 somehow. And that wasn't even a 2 quarterback league, but now we're in a 2 quarterback league. He falls to me again, so I'm going to be drafting Alvin Kamara. All right, so after Kamara was Devontae Adams, goes before Michael Thomas. That is followed up by Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and now Steve is on the clock for 2 picks.
All right, so I am going to stick with my rankings. And in my rankings of all these running backs, I have Aaron Jones the highest. So I think I'm going to go Aaron Jones. I have back-to-back picks because I am the 12th pick. So I am going to go... Actually, nope, I'm lying. I have Joe Mixon the highest in my rankings. And he's still there. So I'm going to go Joe Mixon. I'm going to take Joe Mixon. And then looking at the wide receiver position, I like Julio. I like Tyreek Hill. But I think wide receivers like stupid. Just a lot of guys that I'm cool with taking. There's just way too many guys. So I am going to go the guy that I was preaching a couple weeks ago and saying that I think he could finish number 1 if everything falls for him, and that's Russell Wilson. So I will go Russell Wilson.
All right, so there you go. Joe Mixon, Russell Wilson, Steve. That's followed by Kyler Murray, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones. Now we get to me, and this is not a situation that I really am liking. Honestly. So we got the quarterbacks here. You got Mahomes, Lamar, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. That's going to leave Dak Prescott to me. That's going to be the guy I wind up taking. I'm kind of torn because I hate taking Cowboys, and I hate doing it unless it's Zeke. But yeah, I'm going to take Dak Prescott. So after Dak goes, it's Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Golladay, and now Dan is on the board for 2 picks.
All right. So the next quarterback that they got ranked is Josh Allen, but I didn't really trash Allen. I just not, after reanalyzing, I'm not as high on him. So I'm gonna go. Man, if I wait on quarterback, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah,
because they're flying off the board right now.
Man,
definitely gonna take Aaron. Yeah, this is the thing with. I'll let you try to figure it out, Dan. But while you're trying to figure it out, this is the thing about 2 QB leagues. Like, you do get in these leagues where like seven quarterbacks will go in the first 2 rounds, and then you won't see a quarterback going for a while. Or you'll get into the leagues where 4 quarterbacks will go in the first 2 rounds, and then in the next 3 rounds, there's 6 quarterbacks that go real quick. You know what I mean? So, you get these runs at quarterback, and I think we just hit a run, and then it's going to be a little bit before we see the next, Drew Brees and all those guys come off.
Yeah. So Dan goes with Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers, goes with the Packers boys.
Yep.
The Packer Aarons. So that was followed by Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Josh Allen, Mike Evans, and now it's on to me. I've been preaching this dude as a first-round pick, and nothing has changed for me. And so I'm going to draft Miles Sanders right here. I love getting him right now in the 3rd round. To me, like I mean, I have so many numbers to to back up my claim. I know a lot of people have been talking with fear that the Eagles always run RBBC, but they don't have an RBBC this year because their committee is just not very talented like it has been in the past. So I think Sanders is going to get a lot more of the bulk of the work there, and that's who I decided to go with. That was followed by Leonard Fournette, Chris Carson, Carson Wentz, George Kittle, Kenyon, and now Steve's on the board for 2, and he goes Kenyon Drake, Allen Robinson.
Yep. So for me, Kenyon Drake was the best running back available of all the guys that were still there. I mean, I have him ranked higher than Le'Veon Bell. I have him ranked higher than Kerryon Johnson and Devin Singletary. I have him ranked higher than all those guys. So, I wanted to get my second running back here before the running back ends, because I think Melvin Gordon was basically the next guy that I was thinking about. So I took Drake, and then Allen Robinson. I told you guys I'm super high on Allen Robinson, and for me in a 2 QB league, if I can get A-Rob as my number 1 wide receiver, I am happy with that all day. And then I'll just fill the rest of my team in with a bunch of guys that I think could, be very good and solid, and then take the home runs later in the draft.
All right. So that was followed up by Melvin Gordon, Adam Thielen, Odell Beckham, Calvin Ridley. Now it comes back to me. There's another guy that I have higher than probably everybody, because nobody thinks, like, for some reason, everybody thinks that, everybody forgets last year and how good he was. And because they drafted a rookie this year, that he's going to all of a sudden just not be good this year, I guess. But I'm drafting Mark Ingram, and, that's a guy, I have him as a number 13 running back, and I don't think that's going to change. I still think he's going to get the bulk of the work there. So after Mark Ingram, it was Matt Ryan, Cortland Sutton, Drew Brees, Tyler Lockett, Baker Mayfield goes extremely high here at.
That's how you know it's a 2 QB league.
Yeah, but even still, dude, like
that's early, man. That's really early. Well, if you know what, the one quarterback that you wouldn't mind pairing him with is Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes could be the number 1 guy year in and year out.
That's true.
So getting Baker here, I would not have taken Baker there, but I could see the logic. If Baker finally comes to fruition as a top 5 quarterback, then hey, you got 2 top 5 guys.
Not when I ain't got no running back on my team yet.
Yeah, he's literally
all right,
no
Dan,
running
you're
backs.
up for 2. Yeah, you're up for 2 picks here.
Oh, there you go.
Dan's first pick goes Tom Brady. And then he takes DJ Moore. After DJ Moore was Kerryon Johnson, going very high there. That's followed by Le'Veon Bell, T.Y. Hilton, Robert Woods, and DK Metcalf. Now I am back on the board. So I'm going to look at wide receiver because I have not picked one yet. And the guy that I have the highest out of all the guys left is a dude who kind of broke out last year, and basically in this area, it looks like I'm dealing with, a few guys that I've been down on. I haven't been high on Diggs. I haven't been high on Keenan Allen. A.J. Brown is a potential breakout candidate, but for me, I like DJ Chark more, so I'm going to draft DJ Chark.
Good pick.
After DJ Chark is followed by Stephon Diggs, Debo Samuel. That's pretty high for considering the injury right now. David Montgomery and Devin Singletary. So now Steve is back on the clock for 2 picks.
So for me personally here, I am super torn because both of these guys that are here, I really, really like, and I can't take them both. I can't take them both. So I have David Johnson and Todd Gurley on the board here.
Dude, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Todd Gurley being there and David Johnson's still on the board, and we didn't even get to. Yeah, we didn't even like.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
carry on Johnson going, so it's a little weird right now. Obviously, their ranks are a little screwed up here, but go ahead.
Yeah, but so for me, I am going to go Todd Gurley because I just think the dude is amazing. And then there's, we preach all the time that you need to get a top 4 tight end. I think, especially me and Kev, we kind of are 2 peas in a pod on that line of thinking. And I have Zach Ertz and Mark Andrews, both guys, available to me here. I'm going to stick with my rankings and I'm going to take Mark Andrews and feel pretty confident with my top, 6 picks.
All right. So Mark Andrews, followed by Daniel Jones, David Johnson, A.J. Brown, and Jalen Reagor.
Don't put your Eagles on your team, Kev.
Now it comes back to me, and that's exactly what I was going to do. So I am going to be taking Zach Ertz because, I do want to get my tight end early here. So that's what I'm going to draft. He is the last of the top 4 guys that, are pretty much set in stone. So I'm going to go with Zach Ertz. I don't know how Jalen Reagor went that high either. Jalen Reagor went insanely high. Somebody,
that's crazy. Somebody, an
nice.
Eagle fan.
I saw him sitting there, and I'm like, there's some guys you just got to, zoom right past and just say what's up with these rankings. But
dude, how does Debo Samuel go before AJ Brown, bro? How does that even happen? Debo is like injured. That's I don't know.
So after Zach Ertz was CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Matthew Stafford, Keenan Allen, Tyler Boyd, James Conner. Now it goes to Dan for 2 picks. His first one was A.J. Green, potential, guy that could bounce back and with Joe Burrow throwing the ball could have a really, good situation there. After that, he goes Terry McLaurin. I love that pick there. Like, man, I would have loved to get Terry McLaurin on the comeback. But after Terry McLaurin, he gets the next pick was Michael Gallup, Jimmy Garoppolo, Marlon Mack, Jarvis Landry, Hunter Henry.
Team 3 waited till round 8 to get their first, round 7 to get their first quarterback. So he's going to end up.
Everybody else says 2. Yeah. So I want to look at the wide receivers available right now. I do like one guy there. Running backs. There's another guy I like. But. So I'm looking at the quarterback situation, and there is one guy that I have as my number 14 quarterback. Guy who's been pretty stable when he's been healthy. However, looking at their rankings, I can probably wait to get him. So I'm actually going to stack my running backs here. And, I already have 3. You know what? No, I'm sorry. We went with 3 wide receivers, right?
3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex.
Okay, so I'm actually going to hit the wide receiver position because I got to add a little depth there. So I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks, who is a guy I think is going to thrive with Deshaun Watson.
You bastard.
All right, so that was followed by Jared Goff, Darren Waller, Evan Ingram, Kareem Hunt, and now we are on Steve for 2 picks.
All right, so this is oh man, this is easy. So.
Oh, man.
So for some reason, Juju Smith-Schuster is here. I don't know why. So that's an easy one. And then
Juju Smith?
I have no idea, but dude, my team is amazing.
Yeah, we gotta.
Yeah,
sometimes you gotta go down the board a little bit on these mocks and just see who else is still there.
Doesn't even make no sense. I just got Juju Smith in the 7th round. At the end of the 7th round, that don't even make no sense.
Nah, I don't.
All right, so this is a 3 QB league. I mean, 3 wide receiver league. Just looking at the guys, so I should not have gotten Juju there. That basically makes my team a juggernaut. So really, I'm going to look at a 3rd wide receiver, and I am going to practice what I preach. And I have been preaching that I think Kristen Kirk is going to be very good this year as the number 2 in his offense, not getting number 1 corner coverage, and I will take him as my 3rd wide receiver.
All right, so that is followed by T. Higgins, Will Fuller, Phillip Rivers, and Austin Hooper. And now we come to my pick here in the 8th round. And so it is a 3 wide receiver league, but I am comfortable with the depth at wide receiver. I do have 3 running backs, so obviously I'm a little stacked at running back, but I'm going to add another guy that I've been telling you I'm high on, and that's Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones has the potential to be a top 15 running back this year. And looking at my team, if that winds up being the case, I'm going to be able to flip one of these guys for a good wide receiver during the season. Obviously, we're not playing this out, but that would kind of be my mentality going in, is like stacking myself at the receiver position, at the running back position. And if I hit on Ronald Jones, I would probably try to trade one of my other running backs to get a very good wide receiver. All right, so now we would be followed up with Kirk Cousins, J.K. Dobbins, Marquise Brown. Hollywood goes in the 8th round. Gardner Minshew, Darius Geis, and now it is on Dan for 2 picks.
All right, so I got to definitely grab a running back here because I haven't grabbed the running back in quite some rounds. So I'm going to go with Damian Williams. You listen to you know that I've been high on Damian Williams. I think he's going to go and grab a lot of carries to start the season out. So I'll pick him. And then I want to grab a tight end before people start scooping them all up. And there's one I really do like here a lot. And Gronk's the next one that they have here, but I'm not taking Gronk. So I'm going to grab Noah Fant and be very happy about that.
Yeah, potential breakout candidate Noah Fant. That's followed by Devontae Parker, Jonathan Taylor, Julian Edelman, Phillip Lindsay, and CeeDee Lamb. So now here I am in the 9th round, and now I will be aiming for more receivers. I already have my tight end. I already have one of my quarterbacks. I'm actually going to draft my 2nd quarterback and just take him off the board, and that is Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben has been consistent throughout all these years, and teaming him up with Dak as 2 potential guys that could finish top 10, I think I'm very comfortable doing that. So after that it was Ryan Tannehill, followed by Drew Lock, Denzel Mims, and Mike Williams, and now Steve is on the board for 2 picks.
All right, so in a 2 QB league, I already have Russell Wilson, so I know I have a safe number 1 quarterback. I'm going to take the chance on Cam Newton here.
I like that.
Yeah, I really.
If Ben wasn't there, I would have taken Cam.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Cam here, and then I'm going to go back to the at running back, and I really don't get why he's still here, but I'm going to take Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I looked at the running backs and saw it as well.
And now I have.
I don't even think it's going to be fair to break down Steve's team.
This is crazy.
But yeah, so after Mostert goes Gronk, Sterling Shepard, Sony Michel, Alexander Madison. Now I'm going back to wide receiver. I'm actually going to go way down into the ranks. I'm going to get the guy that I am extremely high on, and I've been talking to him. I'm getting another Eagle. Yes, it's Deshaun Jackson, because I know that I truly feel like Deshaun has the ability to truly break out with being a number 1 receiver in a Carson Wentz offense.
Yep.
All right. That is followed by Brandon Ayuk, Matt Breida, Darrell Henderson, Laviska Shenault, John Brown, and now we are on Dan for 2 picks.
All right, so it's time to grab another receiver, another running back. I'm got to move down as well, and I'm going to grab Emmanuel Sanders because I'm just really curious as how he's going to. He feels like he's revitalized, and I think he's going to love being in this New Orleans offense.
Yeah, that's what I wanted in this round.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders, and then I'm going to go down on the draft board a little bit at the running back position as well. Might be there to me for the next time, but I'm not going to take the chance. I'm going to grab Cam Akers.
I like that. Cam Akers, definitely high upside pick with Cam Akers there. So that's followed by Tariq Cohen, Dede Westbrook, Latavius Murray, Zach Moss, TJ Hawkinson, and now it is on me. And my guy is sitting here. Every year, I tell you guys about the consistency of one Marvin Jones. Nobody believes me, but he's still sitting here in the 11th round, so I'm going to take Marvin Jones. All right, that is followed up by Tyler Higbee, the Patriots defense, McCole Hardman. That will happen. The Patriots defense will go that high.
Yeah.
McCole Hardman and Curtis Samuel. So now it is on Steve for 2 picks.
All right, so for me for 2 picks, I am going to go with a guy that we talked about the other day. I just took his quarterback. James White to me is a guy that, over the past 3 years has not seen less than 90 targets in a season. And I don't think that changes with Cam. I think, this offense is in desperate need of any kind of playmaker, and James White is a playmaker. So I'm going to go ahead and round off my running backs with James White. And then I am going to go back to the well at quarterback, actually, because I might be the only team that has 3 quarterbacks at this point. And with Cam Newton, with his injury history, makes me a little nervous. And I'm going to go super, super high upside with Joe Burrow because I do think this kid is the real deal. And I think that I like getting him here.
All right. So after Burrow is Tevin Coleman, Pittsburgh's defense, Tyrell Williams, Darius Slayton. I'm going to add one more running back to my board. This will probably be the last running back I grab for the draft, depending on how the rest of things go. But I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift, who somehow is sitting around down there. So that's going to be my pick is DeAndre Swift. That is followed up by Bryan Edwards. Bryan Edwards. You guys know that guy?
Bryan Edwards, I have no idea.
I have not seen this dude in any mock draft that I've done. Anthony Miller, OJ Howard, Jordan Howard, and the Buffalo Bills defense. And now it is on Dan for 2 picks.
So someone picked Bryan Edwards over Renfro and Ruggs. That just happened.
Bryan Edwards was there. I want to say he was like the 4th round pick. But I don't know.
Over Ruggs and Renfro.
I don't know. Dude, I got Juju in the 7th.
Yeah, we know. Shut the hell up, Steve.
When these computers are drafting, sometimes it's a little shaky.
Yeah, nothing makes sense anymore after that pick.
All right, Dan. His first pick was Hunter Renfro, a guy that we've been high on, talked about him a little bit, and, guy that can get a lot of PPR work. And his second pick was Justin Jackson, who could be, kind of a guy that splits time with Austin Eckler. A little bit of depth at running back for Dan there. That's followed by Antonio Gibson, Blake Jarwin, Damian Harris, Deontay Johnson, and Tony Pollard. So now I am on the clock, and I'm going to go with another wide receiver that I have pretty high, probably higher than, definitely higher than what these ranks have him, and higher than what most people. I'm going to go with Golden Tate. I have Golden Tate, 85th overall, and he is ranked 153rd. All right, so after that is the Dallas Cowboys, N'Keal Harry, A.J. Dillon, Robbie Anderson, and Steve is on the clock for 2 picks now.
All right, so I'm gonna go 2 wide receivers here. This is a 3 wide receiver league, and at this point, there's 2 guys that are just this part of the draft are just glaring at me. One of them is Jamison Crowder, just because this is a PPR league, and I know Jamison Crowder is probably going to see, if healthy, over 100 targets, and probably be in the 70 to 80 catch range on a Jets team that really doesn't have anybody else. They have Rashad Perryman, who I actually thought about, but it is what it is. And then I'm going to go with the guy that I have been preaching is the best wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins here in Preston Williams, just because, like I said, I do believe he is the best wide receiver in that offense. And Ryan Fitzpatrick showed that he really liked throwing him the ball. So if that's the case and that continues this year, I think Preston Williams could be a steal in the 14th round.
All right. So after Preston Williams goes Rashad Penny, Sammy Watkins, Irv Smith, and Adrian Peterson. All right. So here I am now looking at the board. I have a couple wide receivers that I wouldn't mind taking a shot on. A couple of the rookies there. A running back situation. I mean, this is a 3 wide receiver league, and I already have 5 running backs, 5 receivers. So I obviously got to have a little bit more depth at receiver, although with Nyheim Hines sitting there, it's really screaming my name. But I might go back to quarterback. And with me having Ben, with me having Dak, those guys are obviously going to come into play with bye weeks. And, let me make sure that it's a double digit. That's 8. All right. So, yeah, I'm getting a guy who can fill in at my super flex when those guys are out. Steve talked about him the other day with the potential to finish as a top 12 quarterback. And, in this offense, he could be hit or miss. And during a bye week, that could be crucial. So I'm going to go with Derek Carr. All right. So after Derek Carr was the 49ers, Dallas Goedert, Hayden Hurst, Duke Johnson, Harrison Butker, and Dan, you are on the clock.
Oh, man, I really wanted Harrison Butker in this round. Now I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm with you, Kev. I was up between 2 quarterbacks, and you made my decision easier. I was between Derek Carr and Sam Darnold. I actually was leaning towards Darnold anyway, so I'm going to take him. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5. Yeah, I'm with you. I got 5 running backs, 5 receivers. So let's see just who I like more here.
So Dan goes with Justin Jefferson, followed by Mike Gesicki, Jack Doyle, the Chicago Bears defense, the Baltimore Ravens defense. Nyheim Hines goes right before I pick. We are now 2 picks before kickers and defenses here. So I'm going to draft the rookie receiver that I think is the best one, that I think that I have ranked the highest, and that's Jerry Jeudy, because I think of all the receivers, I think he's the most talented. He obviously runs the best routes, and I'm going to go with the upside of him possibly having a breakout. So I'm going to draft Jerry Jeudy and add a little depth to my receiver position. That is followed by Keyshawn Vaughn, Jamal Williams, Jared Cook, and Chase Claypool. And now you are on the clock, Steve.
All right, so
these will be your last 2 picks. We ain't going to get into kicker and defense, so these will be your last.
All right, so looking at this, I have 1 tight end, and in a 2 QB league with 18 rounds, I think I should probably take another one for the bye week, and I'm going to do that because there is a couple of guys that I like on the board. So I'm actually going to go Greg Olsen.
Looking at it, I can't believe Irv Smith went before Jared Cook.
I know. There's been a lot of weird picks. We'll talk about it. But Greg Olsen with the Seattle Seahawks, we know how good Russell Wilson is, and we know how much he likes to throw to the tight end. And I don't think they got Greg Olsen for no reason. So I think they're going to use him. So I'm going to go that route. And then, looking at some of the leftover players, because there's not a whole lot of really good players here. I am going to grab my backup to Raheem Mostert, who I think the backup is, and I'm going to take Jerick McKinnon here because, like I said, if Raheem Mostert were to get hurt, I think Jerick McKinnon probably is the, guy that gets the more touches. I just think he's better than, Tevin Coleman in every facet of football. And, I'll just shore up my running backs here.
All right. So after McKinnon, it was Chase Edmonds, Justin Tucker, Greg Zuerlein, Robbie Gould. This will be my last pick. Like I said, we're not going to get into the kickers and defenses. I want to look at my ranks and see which one I have higher. And it is the guy who I thought it was. It is Michael Pittman Jr. So that is the guy left on the board that I have ranked the highest at wide receiver, and that's the guy I'm going to go with. After that, it was Henry Ruggs, David Njoku, Dan Bailey, Denver Broncos defense, James Washington, and now Dan, your last pick. Like I said, we won't get into kickers and defenses.
Yeah. So I picked Justin Jefferson, last pick, and I wanted to do Judy, but the only reason I didn't take Judy is because I didn't want to have two Broncos on my team with having Noah Fant. And now I'm going to pick the third Green Bay Packer on my team. So I guess I just kind of steered away from my own strategy. But I'm going to pick Sternberger because I talked about him, and I think the kid's going to get a ton of work. There's nobody that is going to fight this kid for any kind of, field time. He's going to be – and Green Bay is just always good. So I just think he's going to have – if there's a breakout tight end this year – Noah Fant made a little bit of noise last year, but this kid didn't get any work until playoffs, and he had a few big plays. But if there's a breakout tight end this year, I think he's got as good a shot as anybody.
All right, so let's go through our teams. I mean, we could just discuss our each of one of our teams here,
and then grade. We'll just do grades, quick grade.
Yeah. So. Starting off, Dan, we'll go with your team first since you drafted first. Your two quarterbacks are Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, which is a very nice pair. I do like that pair. I think, you didn't get a top-end quarterback, like one of the top 7 guys probably, but you got two guys that are both top 12. So
Tom Brady could finish top 3 this year with those two studs out there.
He does. He definitely he definitely has a lot of upside, and I don't even think Aaron Rodgers last year finished 7th at the end of the year. So it's not even like as bad as if that's Aaron Rodgers' floor. I mean, like last year was not a good year for Rodgers for fantasy wise, but he still, like I said, he still finished 7th. I mean, if that's what we're talking about with Rodgers, you have Saquon. You took him number 1 before McCaffrey. You've been preaching that was your feeling. And then you have Aaron Jones. So I do like your 1-2 combination of running back. DJ Moore, A.J. Green, Terry McLaurin. I love your wide receivers, considering where you drafted. Considering your first 4 picks, we're shoring up your 2 quarterbacks and 2 running backs. Getting DJ Moore in the 5th round here, to me, was a steal. And to back that up with A.J. Green and Terry McLaurin, who, I feel both of those players have a ton of upside. A.J. Green could be a number 1 wide receiver if he stays healthy. Terry McLaurin will see a ton of targets in that offense. Noah Fant is a breakout candidate at tight end, guy I've been higher on. And Damian Williams is your flex, which I didn't even know we had a flex in this draft. I thought it was 2 running backs. But so looking at your team, I'm very, very, very sad. I would be very satisfied with this team, honestly. I mean, really the only position that you might be questionable on your starting spot every week would be your flex, depending on where on the Kansas City running back situation. But if Damian Williams is the starter, like we all think he is, I think your team is very, very good.
Yeah, I give him a solid B. I was leaning. I mean, I don't think B-. I don't think B+. I just give it a solid B. I think it's a good team. I don't think it's nowhere near the best team I've ever drafted, but considering being the number 1 pick, it's just the number 1 pick's tough because you're getting one of the top 2 guys in the draft, but then you got to wait a long time for it to come back around to you, and you just start to see so many good names go off the board. So I never liked drafting first, but I do like the team. It is a solid team. I love them. I love my wide receivers, and then I like my start. Aside, like you said, aside from the flex, my team is extremely solid. So, yep, that's where I'm giving them.
Yep, I'll give you a B. The only issue I have is your
I was
tight
gonna
end.
say B plus. I didn't really want to do grades just because I don't want to give fucking Steve's team an A plus plus plus. But man, at this point we can't really do that. You might have to edit that out too. But yeah, so looking at it, like we, I like I said, I think you're a B plus. I mean, your two quarterbacks are very solid. Your running backs are good. Your receivers are good. If Noah Fant is any kind of player this year, if he does break out, I think your team has as good a shot at any to win.
Yep.
All right. We'll break down
Kev's.
my team. Yeah, we'll break down my team next. So Dak Prescott and Ben Roethlisberger are the two quarterbacks that I have. My running backs are Alvin Kamara, Miles Sanders. My wide receivers are DJ Chark and Brandon Cooks. I am not going to start Deshaun Jackson. Maybe week 1 I might, but considering the rest of the Eagles situation I have going on, I probably would go with Marvin Jones. After that, it would be Zach Ertz and Mark Ingram. So I really like my team. I'm obviously a little weaker on receiver, but I feel like I have a lot of depth. I'm solid. I have one of the top 4 tight ends, and I have, my running back core is probably one of to me, one of the best probably in here, in this draft. Obviously, Steve has a few monsters because of where where guys fell to him at, but I really like the way my team turned out. It's probably just going to be a little mix matching at receiver to find the right combination, but everything else looks good to me.
Yeah, I like your team too. Even though you waited on wide receiver, I talked about it. I think Brandon Cooks is, a no-brainer top 18 wide receiver this year. He's the number 1 on a team that has, Deshaun Watson. So I don't think they brought him in by accident. I think he was somebody that they targeted and wanted after losing DeAndre Hopkins. And I do think he's going to get a whole bunch of targets. DJ Chark, I think probably, more than any other player, I think he is just going to be super consistent the way he played last year. I think some people think it's a fluke and, he just got lucky, and I don't. I think he's super talented. So, I do like your 2 starting receivers, and you just have a juggernaut, big 3 running backs. And with Ronald Jones being your number 4 running back, if one of those guys were to get hurt, I think you have a solid fill-in guy. And then you got a bunch of, really solid guys late at your wide receiver position with Jones and Tate. I think those guys are just, the model of consistency in fantasy football. That's kind of what you want, in those middle rounds. And then I like your quarterbacks. So, Dak Prescott, we know, could probably be he could once again be another 5,000-yard passer, and 30-plus touchdowns easily. And to pair him with, Ben Roethlisberger, who we all know if he plays 16 games is going to be at least 4,500-yard passer with at least 30 touchdowns. I like what you got here, so I'm going to say B plus.
Yeah, I'm looking between you and Steve, Kev, to see obviously we know your running backs or your wide receivers are a little weaker, but your running backs, the top 3 are just super strong. I like Steve's a lot too, Mixon, Drake, Gurley. We'll get into that next. But I kind of think that you got a slight edge being that the 3 guys that you have, no doubt about it, locked and loaded, 16 games, going to be seeing probably 20 carries a game. Maybe Ingram has a little bit of a decline this year, being that they drafted somebody too, and they already have, guys that they like to use. But I do like, because of your running backs and I like your receivers, I like your team slightly, maybe the same as mine. I'm going to go with B. Maybe slightly more, maybe between a B and a B plus, but I'll give it a solid B.
All right, now we'll move on to Steve's team. Oh, he's got Russell
before
Wilson.
I start, I just want to say this is unfair. This was a whole lot of craziness going on in this draft. This is an A++ team. This team is stupid. This don't make no sense. We shouldn't even really break this one down.
We don't. Yeah. Because like you got 4 running backs that could all be top 10 guys.
Yeah.
You have 2 wide receivers that could be top 10 guys. You have a quarterback that could finish number 1. And honestly, if he gets Antonio Brown, I'll rank it that way. So it's like, and you got Mark Andrews, who's a stud tight end. Like, this isn't even fair. I mean, yeah, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, Allen Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Christian Kirk, Mark Andrews, Todd Gurley is his starting lineup. Then he's got Mostert, James White, Joe Burrow, Crowder, Preston Williams, Greg Olsen, Jerick McKinnon. It's not even fair to rank this team just because you had Gurley and Juju just fall incredibly low to you, and it's make your team look.
Don't forget Mostert too. I mean, he's finding these names down at the bottom of the barrel. Like,
Mostert, I can honestly see falling with the news going around about him wanting to be traded, and you know, some people were already down
falling 5 rounds because of the news.
10th round, that's really low. But
that's late.
People are low on Mostert to begin with. I mean, some people ain't drafting him to like the 6th round anyway. So, you add a 2 QB league in where a lot of guys are grabbing 2 QBs before they grab, before that round. He would still if he went in the 8th round, it wouldn't have been such a steal, but him going in the 10th round makes it a steal. Gurley in the 5th round is ridiculous. I guess it's really, I mean, considering Gurley goes in, because nobody taking 2 quarterbacks that early. So Gurley was a steal. Juju was an absolute robbery.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, come on, Sleeper, you got to do better. Sleeper, we did this draft on a Sleeper app. You got to do better. I'm calling you out right on the podcast. You got to do better.
You got to do better. This is bad. This is not good. And you know what? The difference between my team and your guys' team is I went deeper into the list than you guys.
Yeah. Well, after you found Juju down there, I started to do the same. I said, who else
I went deeper in the list than you guys. So, this team is a juggernaut.
That with Gurley, and then I didn't do it with Juju, and I would have gotten Juju if I had like taken my list down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at it, like I said, Sleeper, you just got to do better.
Yes, sir.
But that is it for tonight's podcast, guys. Remember, check us out on the website, www.cheatcodesports.com. That is www.cheatcodesports.com for rankings, articles, the cheat codes, and this player profile PDF, which we will have coming out with a tiered out draft guideline. All good stuff to look at. Let us know. Give us some feedback. And until next time, peace out, guys.
Peace.
Later.